I thought he was a good sportsman, but I realized he's a better preacher. Because we have met and played golf with him, you must sometimes exercise, and he's a very good player, by the way. And with the golf course, there's something that you always say, keep your eyes on the ball, remain focused. So for a moment when I saw him on the golf course, I thought he had left his actual ball somewhere else. But I've come here and I've realized that even though he was on the golf course, this guy never left his eyes, never removed his eyes from the ball, and that is the word of God. So I congratulate you, and also Madam, and all the people who have worked tirelessly together, collectively, to bring honor to this church and to build it to where it is today. God bless you and continue with that effort. Second point I'll just talk about, because I've acknowledged him, is to just say that as he talked about the setbacks that we face individually, we are about 50 million people in Kenya today. So if you multiply all our setbacks together and consolidate into one, what does it become? It becomes a national setback. And if you take the global component of our setbacks, then it becomes an international or global setback. So he spoke to us today, and I listened. Very powerful sermon, very moving. And me as a politician, I would say, if only he lent me his qualities, then I would win the vote on the first day. Out there. But that is his gift. But can we try and just figure out what are our national setbacks? As we sit here today, as we focused on our individual setbacks, what are our national setbacks? Can you name some of them? A national setback, when you refuse to respect the Lord, does it become a national setback? When we indulge in impunity, does it become a national setback? When we embrace corruption, does it become a national setback? When we have two sets of laws, laws for those you believe are rich and laws for those you believe are poor, and you don't have a common law for everybody, is it a national setback? When you have your farmers out in the field not getting their fertilizer on time, not being able to till their farms on time, is it a national setback? It becomes a national setback because there shall be hunger down the road. So it is a national setback. So as we look at what we do, as we look at how we approach life, we must also remember our personal choices contribute to the national setback. And equally, our personal choices can help in turning those setbacks around into positives. So I speak here just to consolidate his message and to say he has spoken very seriously. Finally, I came across some study by scholars, and it's a research done on Kenya. And they have found that 78% of Kenyans are 35 years and below. So basically 80% of the Kenyans living today, alive and kicking, are 35 years and below. We are about 50 million. We don't know what the census will produce, but let's assume we are about 50 million. So 80% of 50 million people living in Kenya are 35 years and below. Now, start looking backwards and say, how do we get jobs? How do we get shelter? How do you have our health care working? How do we get our systems of justice operating? How do we feed these people? Because if you're 35 years and below, you are active. These are people who are going to multiply our population. And by 2050, it's estimated we shall be 90 million. Because the structure of our demography is such that it is a young society. Tragedy. The same scholars have established that 50% of the young people who are sampled, which means 50% of those who are 35 years and below, when they were asked, what do you think about corruption in Kenya? 50% said, I do not mind corruption as long as I don't get caught. Is that a national setback? It is a national setback. Because then we have a lot of work to do as a nation to turn this round. We must be able to create 8 million jobs as of today to ease unemployment. We must be able to come out strongly and talk about the public debt that is eating us. I talked about this from 2015. People thought I was joking. They thought it was just a political gimmick. Today, the Treasury has now admitted that we are in trouble. They have now admitted that we are in trouble. There's a huge burden. Projects have been launched. Projects have been set up. And there's nothing to show for those projects. But we have to pay the debt. Who pays the debt? You and I. The taxman, KRA, is looking for you. The other day I was watching a program, and some of you may have heard of Sanders, the one who contested in the US. And in the process, he was saying, we should be careful so that we don't create policies that are there to impoverish those who have. But we should be creating policies that enrich the poor that do not have anything. Why am I saying this? Because the pressure we have in terms of debts, now we are having KRA coming again and again and again. Even the church is not being spared today. Even the sanctuaries are not being spared. KRA is looking even inside the sanctuaries. Why? Because those debts have become so big. And now they are going everywhere, trying to squeeze water out of a stone. These are national setbacks, but we can turn them around. We can turn them around. And therefore, I stand here to appeal to you that let us work as a nation, let us pull together, even as we talk about reform and changes, even if we say we want to amend the law, please ask leaders like myself. And the bishop said there are those who will tell you the truth, and there are those who will lie. There are those who will please you. There are those who will not please you, but they will tell you as it is. So when we say we want the referendum and we want to change some aspects of our constitution, please ask me and ask the other, Mr. Mudavadi, in this referendum proposal of yours that you suggest, what is in it for me? What is in it for you? This referendum call that is on the table, how is it going to contribute to generating the 8 million jobs that I've talked about? This referendum question that you want to put on the table, how is it going to help in reducing the heavy national debt that Kenya is running now? This referendum that we have, how is it going to help us deal with impunity and corruption? This referendum that we are talking about, how is it going to put food on the table for Elijah and yourselves? How is this referendum going to put medicine in hospitals? Or is it a referendum so that Musalia Mudavadi can walk and dance and trot and say, I am a big man? What is in the referendum for you? Let us have inclusivity. Let us dialogue. Let us do what is good for Kenya. Because once we do what is good for Kenya, we have done what is good for the Lord. So I will stop there. But I'll say, I'm so honored, and I've listened to the bishop. Don't be surprised if you see me here now a little more often. Because it has been a powerful sermon. The choir is excellent. The congregation is vibrant.